Good afternoon, shalom. איזה כיף להיות איתכם פה.
Shalom, shalom.
Guys, like, make some noise. Woo! Thank you. We're like physically here, not in Zoom. It's really amazing to be here. And usually at this part of the presentation, we start about saying what we're going to talk about. So no, let me tell you what we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about uptime. We're not going to talk about SLAs. We're not going to talk about all the amazing things that we just heard. We are going to talk about the mindset. We're going to talk about what to do when the crisis happens. Because it's not a question of if. It's a question of when. When the crisis will happen. So again, good afternoon. My name is Ariel, and I'm the VP IT and Cyber for Taboola in the past 8 years. A little fun fact that I want to share with you here is that a few years back, I took down one of the largest websites on the world, on the internet, I'm sorry. One of the largest websites on the internet. With a box cutter, עם סכין יפנית, ממש בידיים, with my hands. But again, this is not what we're going to talk about. If you want to hear more about that, then we can do it in the break.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Barak Luzon. I'm a scale and big data engineer at Taboola for the past 4 years. Been around software since 2005. You can see here I'm a home brewer. I didn't bring any, so don't kill me later. And the funny story is that I am the sole responsible for the largest or the meaningful downtime of Taboola in its entire history. And the funny thing is that Ariel found out, thank you.
And I had no idea.
And he had no idea. He found out that only when we made that lecture, when we made the slides, I said, I'm going to say that. And he was like, it was you? All right. So to understand what is the meaning of Taboola and what is the meaning of downtime at Taboola, you need to understand who we are. So you already know us. You meet us at a moment that we call moments of next. You're reading an article, you're waiting for a train, you're waiting for a bus, or you just want to clear your head and read something on your computer. So you go on a website, you read something, and then what? You finish it. You're waiting, you want to see what's next. We are there to recommend you what to read next. We are the largest content discovery platform in the world, and we would try to recommend you to what your personality wants to read later. And as such, we have recommendations for 3 billion page views a day, 500,000 recommendation requests per second arrive to our data center, to a total overall of 1.5 million HTTP requests per second. Our reach, our global reach, is about 1.5 billion unique users a month. That's 1/3 of the internet population reads recommendations of Taboola. And we generate over 100 terabytes of new data and ingested daily. So our technical structure is a little bit different. We do not use a cloud provider. We run our own cloud. And in our cloud, we have 9 data centers that spread across 6 different time zones of the world in 3 continents. And that populates, I'm dying to know how you would do 10,000 servers now.
Big, like real big.
So there are 10,000 servers, and there's constant traffic of information going from the backend data centers there in Israel to the front-end data centers across the world. So given all that, what could possibly go wrong?
What can go wrong? Thank you, Barak. So this is a real picture. There's actually a few people in the crowd here that maybe even viewed this picture. Hello to guys for moving on. And like it's that thing that you're going, how bad can something be? How big can a downtime go? And if it goes big, it goes really big. And I remember this moment. It was in June 2020. I was home. It was the weekend. And guys, you know what pager duty is? I'm guessing people here, you're on pager. You do. I see the yeses in the crowd. You know, we're in DevOps days. We do pagers. So you have the special ringtone for the pager that is different from a phone call. And I hear that sound. I'm going, okay. I go to pick up my phone and I hear it again and again. And now it's like a DDoS on my phone. I'm getting a pager and another one. Okay, something big is going to happen, like or already have happened. I sit on my computer, connect to the VPN, nothing. The whole data center is dark. Okay, I'm running kind of scenarios in my head, data center dark, probably network problem. We all kind of a few weeks ago got an example of what happens when BGP goes down. So, things go bad at the network level. And while I'm trying to connect to the out-of-band network, I get a call from the tech on site. And he's telling me, Ariel, he said this in Hebrew, of course, but he says, Ariel, there's a smell of smoke in the data center. Everything is down. There's no electricity. There's nothing. Everything is down. And while he's speaking, I can hear the sirens. And he sends me this picture. This is a real picture. The firefighters are in the data center. And at this moment, you kind of gulp. What do I do? And that's the moment we want to talk about. We want to talk about the mindset. When you sit to solve something, when you need your organization to be in a place in the right mindset of solving problems, of how to manage a crisis.
So I know at least some of you are dying to know what happened there and how we solved that incident with the firefighters and everything. But just before that, I want to talk about protocol number 541 of the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. That's a protocol that every pilot knows that when it has a malfunction in the airplane, that's their course of action. And it goes like this: aviate, navigate, and communicate. Okay, you caught me there. I don't really know if it's protocol number 541 or something else, but that's an actual protocol. And if any of you are pilots, you probably know that. So aviate, keep the plane up, keep it flying. Navigate, don't crash into a mountain. Navigate the plane to a safe location. And the third part is communicate. Let the control know that you're in trouble. They will create emergency protocols and start helping you from distance. So to give that parallel thing in our world, to talk about it, so Aviate is talking about keeping the systems up. As if you look at the pilot and ask him, can you fly? The pilot does not care if it's blade number 8 in the engine or some connector in its wing that flew off, as long as he can continue flying the airplane. So in our scenario, we're not talking about solving the issue that caused the downtime. We're only talking about keeping the systems up and alive. Navigate. So just as the plane continues to move, continues to fly around the air, the world does not stop because we have a problem at Taboola. So we have to keep making decisions. So we do have beautiful dashboards over there, and we have all the information that we need. But that's not entirely true because 99% of the time, or all the time, we don't have all the information. And the thing that separates us and having the systems up and running is having tough choices with missing information. But I guarantee you, if you keep making those decisions and you act fast, you can correct all the issues that you generate with wrong decisions. And the last part is communicate. So first of all, when there's an event like this, some kind of a downtime, there must be a cry of war. You must notify everyone that there is a downtime. Whether it's you're on call or you're the one who caused that error, you have to fight that feeling that each and one of you has. Come on, Ariel, 5 minutes, I'll fix it. 5 minutes, nobody would know. You have to fight that feeling. In our organization at Taboola, Ariel has that big button. You can see it over here. When Ariel presses that button, all the on-calls of Taboola will get a pager duty. Wait, Ariel, is it connected?
Dude, it's wireless. It's like we built this wireless.
No. Is it going to trigger a PD?
It's a production device. Of course it will. Better not now.
Yeah, we're not.
But again, you can come and see it in the break.
Okay, so Ariel has that button, but we all have a Slack channel called Downtime, and half of the company is there. And whenever there is even the slightest downtime, we notify everyone. So it creates a system of trust and accountability. So if something happens, something goes wrong, call everyone, call fast, communicate.
So the big crisis came. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. We started with that. That's very clear. Now, in Taboola, we created the environment where everyone knows about the problem, about the crisis immediately. That is the standard that we wanted to create. That is kind of part of the mindset that allows us to manage a crisis the best way that we know. Fast, reliably, that we learn from it. Now, the issue is that most of us, and I hope none of you today, but most of us have worked in organizations where you get the blame. If you caused a downtime, or if you fixed something, then it's you. Oh, you did the downtime. We've all been at that place where coming into the office the next morning is kind of, oh, cringe, I don't want to go, everyone's going to look at me. So moving away from that and creating that environment where we can communicate openly, very important. Now, if I was a organizational consultant, I would dryly say, okay, this is just the company culture. Or in a bit more kind of details, I would say that it is accountability, transparency, and blameless.
So you remember that largest downtime that you cheered me that I caused, and you probably remember that. You applaud for it. So that was the most significant downtime that happened in Taboola's history. That's not the firefighter story that we're talking about, but bear with me. So apparently, that specific downtime happened during Pesach night on Leil HaSeder. Yeah, and I know some of you go, ooh, so that's the exact reaction that I hoped for, so thank you for that. But I actually remember what happened on that day very clear. I saw the alert on my computer, and I was like, the first thing that came to my mind, literally the first thing, I need to call Ariel, okay? I called him, and I told him, Ariel, no time to talk. Downtime. Everything is down. Taboola is not working right now. You know what he answered? I'm on it. 90 seconds later, we're in a Zoom meeting, 40 people on call. Some of them were not on call at that moment. And Ariel is smiling. You can see in the little window, he's smiling, a huge smile. He's not saying anything. And the first thing that came to my mind, why the hell is this guy smiling? Everything is down. And then it realized me. I realized that it doesn't really matter for Ariel who's to blame. He only wants to find the solution, and he wants to find it fast. It doesn't matter what caused the downtime.
Now, I remember that call from Barak. Both of us, we were not on call, as Barak said. And again, that downtime, boom, that triggered it. I was going, okay, we're on it. And Barak was in the call with me. And he didn't give me the feeling that, oh, I need to be somewhere else. I need to be like, I have food to prepare, the family's waiting, the Zoom is open on Leil HaSeder. This was during the lockdown. We all had one mission, to solve the problem and to take it to the next level. So we tried to bring this mindset into kind of a nice phrase in not too many words, and this is what we came up with from kind of this well-known General Patton. And he says that the test of success is not what you do when you're on top. Success is how high you bounce when you hit the bottom. And downtime, guys, it doesn't get much lower than that in our professional lifetime, in our professional career, sorry. So how do we kind of move on? How do we learn from this? How do we create the right environment, the right mindset in Taboola in every downtime? So first we start with blameless. That's the first ingredient. And if I had to say it in a bit more, I'd say a blameless mindset. We don't look for the guilty party. We don't point. We don't talk about names even. It's a true story. I did not know that Barak was eventually the person that caused that bug because we don't talk about names. Totally blameless. So that is the mindset, the blameless mindset you need to kind of bring your organization into. Then the second ingredient is accountability. When people are accountable, and like it's become a cliche. Everybody says, okay, accountability, accountability. So what do we do in Taboola to kind of work on that muscle, work on that accountability?
So that actually reminded me of a story. You remember that retro meeting that we had about 2.5 weeks ago about gateway tests failing? So nobody could deploy code to production for maybe a day. That's a lot at Taboola. We have lots of deployments daily. And we were in that retro meeting, and we talked about what was the miscommunication that led to that issue. And there were several teams over there, and we weren't looking for anyone to blame for that miscommunication. We were just trying to find where is the weakest link that was broken at the same time. And I remember my group manager, he came to one of the people who talked, and he laid his hands on and said, this is on us. This is an R&D component. It doesn't matter that we have 7 teams here across different areas of the business. This is our responsibility. He took accountability for that, and he said, we are responsible to making sure that everyone functions in their best way. Doesn't matter that the other person was responsible for passing that message along.
And that is accountability by definition, is when we take control. So we kind of thought how to drive this point home, and this doesn't translate into English. We took it from מבצע סבתא and טיפ של אלופים מקרמבו.
If any of you didn't see מבצע סבתא,
you need to see the movie, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So here is our tip for champions, as it was. Take responsibility immediately. You start the meeting, you talk about what happened, think of what you could have done better. Think of what is the place where you could have done like the wow impact. Start with that. And מיקוד שליטה פנימי in Hebrew, or internal locus of control. And no, that's not a typo. Google me later. It's just a phrase in Latin, but it again speaks of the control that we have and not the external forces that impact us. It's how we conduct ourselves, how we decide to become accountable. And then the third part is transparency. And we just heard about transparency a moment ago here on stage. But I want to talk about extreme transparency. I want to talk about aggressive sharing. So it's not enough just to share. Sharing is okay. We believe in sharing. Sharing is caring. But we want to take it to the next level. We want to add something to that. So sharing is dashboard. Transparency, is dashboards. Transparency is reports. Aggressive sharing is when you had a huge problem or even a small problem. You take that lesson learned and you push it out. You let others know. You send it to management. You send it to your CTO.
So going back to that Aviate, Navigate, Communicate, you've probably noticed that we didn't talk much about Aviate and Navigate. Because Aviate and Navigate, that's what you do. You've learned your entire life how to do that. You did a university degree, you did multiple courses on how to troubleshoot, how to write systems, how to be in the correct mindset to solve problems. But communicate is that soft skill, that thing that we rely on personal connections, on our friendships to make it better. But it is much more methodic than we would think. And if you look at it at a different angle, it's basically a circle that is composed of being in a blameless mindset, taking accountability and transparency. And the beautiful thing about circles is that it doesn't have a beginning or an end. You can jump in the circle at any point. You can start by not blaming your peers for making an error. You can start by taking accountability or acting in a more transparent manner. But eventually, if you want to build that culture, that mindset of good communication in your organization, you will have to go through all of them.
So I owe you a story about the firefighters. And the firefighters, again, real picture. The firefighters are leaving the data center. And nothing. There was no fire. It was just a tripped circuit. But even so, we had tens of thousands of cores down. We had thousands of servers dark. So we had an event. We had a DR event that we needed to manage. We had 40 people on call, bringing back the servers, bringing back the services. But our clients felt nothing, because this was a DR event. The question is not, the story here is not what happened in the event, but how we managed it and how we brought the provider of the data center into our circle. and how we made sure that we work with our provider on creating a better environment for the next time such an incident may happen. So to sum it all up, we started with the firefighters, but the firefighters are not the story here. We told you about Passover, but Passover, again, that's not the issue here. The issue is not the technical solution. The issue is the mindset. How do we bring the mindset of the organization into the place where it's a mindset of learning and of solving any crisis that may happen?
And I remind you, it's not only matters what you do during the crisis. It matters what you do way before it. It matters what you do today. If you create an environment where people are accountable for their act, they're not looking for anyone to blame, and they act in a transparent manner, and I know it's a bit hard, and there is no magic powder that I could just give you and sprinkle around and you'll get there. It's the hard work, but we do believe that this is possible. So not only you'll be able to act and solve the issue where the firefighters come knocking on your door, maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to create an environment that does not start fires to begin with.
Thank you very much.